Hey, what's up, everyone? I know I'm the one that's saying what's up. We usually have Shawn in the house saying what's up, but guess what? You got two great guys here, Tom, myself. We're coming to you live on YouTube, ready to give you some good action, some good discussion today. We're going to be open. Can't wait to see everyone in the chat and see what's going on. And we're going to miss Tom today. We best wishes to
This Tom, I'm right here.
you're
You
right
mean
there,
Shawn?
Shawn. That you know what? That's what I get for taking like a quick 30-minute nap. Can't even get my brain right, so I got to wake up. But Shawn had a little bit of a health issue. He's okay. Just some catheter business that life as a SCI. It happens. It sucks. But we roll on. Life rolls on. So I'm Bobby Rohan, C56 quadriplegic here in sunny Southern California. Tom, take it away.
What is going on, everybody? It's Tom Conaway. I'm dealing with some major low blood pressure, so if I'm leaning all over the place, that's why. And if you can't hear me very well, it's because I'm running a fan and air conditioning right now, trying to come down from overheating. But I'm here, so do not fret. For T Fizzle has arrived. C6B quadriplegic, for anybody who's curious about that information. And I'm also coming at you from sunny Southern California. And we're just running the show today. I love Shawn, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of fun when Bobby and I get to take over. Like I miss the OG3, but just because we rarely get to do it, it's kind of fun. Like I feel like we're like sneaking out of the house. The parents don't know, or they're away for the weekend or something, and we just get to throw a party and like do what we want.
Maybe a
So
couple extra cuss words, talking a little nasty Who knows? You never know what's going to happen here. But Shawn, you are going to miss. I see that they'll be watching. So rest up, Shawn. We got Donald in the house. Chair Life, what's up? And Leah. And Grandma's in the house as always. So much love. Thanks everyone for joining us. We had guests come on. We're kind of moving it. So Tom and I, we're just gonna free ball it and catch up
free
on,
ball.
yeah, free balling it. Letting the air hang out and let everything like woohoo. So that's what happens when Shawn's not here. But
Oh,
let's catch
Bobby.
up with.
Oh, Bobby.
Let's catch
Um,
up on some life stuff and what's been going on, Tom. Besides your low blood pressure today.
yeah, no, I have this bad habit of not feeding myself enough in the morning and then going and doing a bunch of stuff and like my tank gets really low. And I had some food like after I got home, but I went shopping and got some groceries and I was like scrambling and rushing to put everything away because I just had some refrigerated items and stuff. And I like inhaled half a sandwich and then because I ate too quick and I was moving too fast and I didn't have enough energy in my system from feeding myself earlier, I just like crashed. I felt like I dove off a cliff for a second, but I got my coffee and I'm coming back. Um, I'm, it's nothing. It's stuff that I should avoid and work on avoiding, and I do to a certain extent, but it's also something I'm kind of used to because it's just how I roll most of the time. But how am I? I'm fair to Midland, I'd say. I'm healthy. My family's healthy, and we're all living and doing our best to be happy and surviving.
Did you
Um,
get to see Mom on Mother's Day?
I did get to see Mama on Mother's Day.
Good.
Shout out, Mama.
Yeah.
Love
Happy
you so
Mother's Day,
much.
Mother.
And my Papa, and my sister, which is nice. We're only missing one of the Conaways. But we're sending her love up north too. And yeah, we got to spend the day together, which is real nice and great time with the family. Something I'm really, really grateful for and not taking for granted. Um, I'm keeping busy. I'm really focused on T-Visa lately. Just really working on my health. my physical health. Doing a lot of rehab, a lot of therapy, a lot of exercises on my own. Um, and that's been really awesome and positive and something really important and necessary for me. Also been working on mental health too. I've been dealing with probably like the most severe depression I've ever dealt with in my whole life, and it's been a journey. It's been a trip. It's been a lot of really hard shit. It's been a lot of learning and changing and growing, asking for help. Um,
which is hard.
you know, yeah, super hard. Changing some stuff in my life. I've got a therapist, which shout out to my therapist, Rich. It's been super awesome and really positive experience. Honestly, I just talk the whole time and I kind of just talk my way through everything. But at the same time, it's really awesome to have a very like attentive listener. Somebody who's also kind of third party to my life and my situation, meaning they're not like super close to me. Don't necessarily like in the midst of all my stuff. Um, yeah, that's been kind of nice too. Just talking to someone from an outside perspective, mostly. Like that's been I think one of the more beneficial things. Also, just like a positive sounding board, like someone to not necessarily like just positively affirm me, but um, talk in such a way that helps me feel more
Yeah,
positive instead of more
yeah, and it,
negative.
it helps to have a person that might not maybe judge you or,
Yeah.
think one way or another. You just tell them and they tell you like it is. And you're like, well, because he doesn't know it, I guess it must be this way or that way, so it's kind of nice sometimes.
Yeah, I'm really kind of a generally positive, outgoing person. If anybody knows me, knows that about me. Um, I've struggled with my mental health when I was a teenager, before I moved out. Had a year or two, and I was just going through a lot of transition. I was growing up, becoming an adult, and a lot of realizations hit me all at once in regards to my life and moving out and just living life and how possible that all might be and how hard it was maybe gonna be. And um, I remember I went through some depression. Um, it was just my family was able to support me, friends were able to support me. I was able to just work my way through it, and that was fine. But I don't know if I really understood what it was. Maybe really, especially anxiety. I've known people that struggle and deal with anxiety, and I've heard about it. I've listened, and I've tried to understand with whatever capacity I could. But I also don't think I ever really experienced that either. At least not truly. At least not um, what I've learned it could be like. And it's also something that's kind of new for me too. Like feeling anxiety, like feeling scared to go out, or feeling scared, or like really having a difficult time socializing and interacting with other people, which is something like I do so like breathing, you know, being alone and scared all the time of things that I don't necessarily have influence or control over, and letting them consume me, and just crazy things that I've talked about and heard about, but have not really understood. And it's been a trip. It's been a trip. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's honestly still hard. Like I still be struggling some days real hard. I'm doing better at not staying in it. I'm not sticking in it. I mean, again, this isn't just my therapist, but like shout out to my family and a, and a couple of really awesome, amazing friends. You're one of those people, Bobby, right in that list. Who I hold highest and most dear, and has been really giving me some good advice and give me a lot of love when I've been hurting and having a hard time. But also like give me constructive advice to like move forward and not dwell, and like hey, like let's live
Well,
in reality, bruh.
and one of those
You
that I told you, you had to, Tom, you need some extra help, you know, and
Yeah.
glad you got it and sought it out. So good for you.
And I'm still on the journey too, which, like I'm really been taking care of myself a lot in the way of like rehabilitating my body and make sure I'm physically up to stuff. I'm still working on balancing my care situation. I really like kind of pushed my independence barriers recently, and while that's been like positive and good in some ways, I need to strike a better balance. I need to maybe find a little bit more help and support in that way too, and balance it with my independence goals and stuff so that I can continue to do what I'm doing, at least in some capacity, and not put myself in a situation where I'm going to end up getting set back or something. Um, and yeah, just on the journeys, just working on myself,
Good.
living living the best I can.
Yeah.
How about you, Bobby? How are you, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm struggling in some ways, with mom and dad's, both of them.
Yeah,
I've expressed a few times of my parents' health, and my dad has pretty bad dementia. I guess if you call it Alzheimer's, or it's sad when you go there each time, and he knows who I am and everything's great. He's at an assisted living center right now, and both my mom and dad are, and can't remember, like, we call him 10-second Tom, from 51st Dates, and
happy birthday.
my dad is that way. One day, this is 2 weeks ago, and I was there checking on him because my mom was in the hospital and is still in the hospital at a nursing center. And I just said, hey, Dad, all of a sudden I looked at him and his glasses were like this, like, and I'm like, Dad, your glasses are like really crooked. And he goes, yeah, and I'm missing a lens too. And he puts his finger through, and I'm just like, what? And it was his brand new glasses where I took him and got him his eyes checked out and got him new glasses, a little bit better than his metal ones that were all bent out of heck. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So let me take those, Dad. Where are your spares? Of course, I don't know. I check every drawer and their apartment and and it was just like, I can't find them. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Well, let me take these and get them fixed for you. So I got them in my pocket, and we're rolling down the hallway to the elevator to go to lunch, taking them to lunch. And, we're not even like 10 feet away from his place. And he goes, oh, shoot, hold on. I left my glasses. I'm like, Dad, your, your glasses are with me. They're broken, and we can't find your spares. Oh, yeah, that's right. And as much as you want to be like, laugh at it, but it's crushing at the same time in your heart, knowing that your dad is like this. It's not really your dad, and it's sitting with him
yeah,
at the table, and you know um, he can't ask you, how your day going, what have you been up to. He doesn't have that communication anymore, and so it's hard to be around, and so when I run out of questions because he's only got one answer for everything. Good. What have you been up to? Not much. Did you go, play bingo yesterday? No, I don't think I did. Well, I heard you did, Dad. Oh, I guess I did. And it's just like, oh. So, it's as much as I've known it's been like this for now 8 months or now 10 months since they've been down here living near me in their assisted living. It's still hard to be around. And then my mom is, her health and her stubbornness. I'm stubborn for, I am just like my mom, and it's scary when I see her in the bed because I'm just as stubborn. And here's my mom, having a hard time, getting out of it because of her strength, and her stubbornness of getting up and falling a lot in no matter how many bed alarms are going off or what's going on, she's just so stubborn. She just keeps climbing out of that bed, and she's weak. She you know at times her blood pressure is really low, and it's just hard. It's hard to manage, and but on Mother's Day we did go see her. She looked better, and I was happy about that. So that's the rough time. The good part is I'm healthy, my wife's healthy. Everything's going well with that situation. So you know
How how are you keeping yourself mentally healthy in addition to physically healthy? I mean, how are you taking care of yourself in the midst
right.
of this? Because I know you be taking care of your people too, and it always there's not a lot of energy or room at the end of the day for taking care of Bobby. So what are you doing? How do you do it?
I get on my bike, dude, and exercise. So my pushing and my cycling is, where I take it to the best. It's what I love to get out there and get with my mind. And sometimes I have my pod in, and when I get to the beach and I know there's no traffic. When I'm riding, I'll turn on some music, but all of last week or the last couple weeks, I don't turn on my music. I just let my mind go free and just think of the good times about what my parents have, brought into me, and of being a strong person. And I always say this, Tom. My parents didn't give me everything I needed. Or what is it? Didn't give me everything I wanted. They gave everything I needed. And that was some skills in life, and could have been better in childhood. We always think that, no matter what, we can blame our parents for so many things. But in the retrospect, I get angry about some of the things of their, getting older, and how they mismanage maybe money and their health. And so I look at that and I try to not make those same mistakes as you're supposed to as a kid, right? So I look at it as like, I want to eat healthier. My dad won't touch any vegetables every day. Dad, what do you want for lunch? Hamburger. He always points to the hamburger. That. I'm like, Dad, can we eat something else? Nope. Hamburger. So, it's just like, okay, well, I think you need some veggies. Okay, I'll order some, and then he doesn't eat it. But, and then, knowing that I've managed my money and got people to help me with it, and so I don't make mistakes. Like, my dad thought he couldn't handle his own money, and it was a disaster until I finally talked him into, getting with somebody, and with my person. So it's better. But so exercise and this kind of stuff, it really helps me stay grounded and keep him busy. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's I'm still struggling.
Yeah, um, this helps me a lot too. Getting on, hanging out with my people. Not just you guys, but all you guys watching too, and hanging out with us. It really does make a big difference. It's tough, Bobby. Here for you. Love you, man.
Thank you.
Um, something scares the shit out of me. Like my dad's been going through some health stuff recently, and um, just some like mobility related stuff and pain stuff, and it's been scary just because like surgery, and it's like keeping him kind of down from walking and doing his normal kind of physical stuff that I've just known that he does and known as him his whole life. It's a scary thing. I can't relate to what you're going through because I've never experienced something like that, and I don't know that you can understand or know something like that unless you go through it
Yeah.
necessarily. Um, yeah, my parents are gonna live forever, and nothing ever bad is gonna happen to them, so I'm not gonna worry about that.
No,
But
and nothing ever prepares you though for it. No matter. I was talking about my dad's crooked glasses, but nothing ever prepares you for it, no matter how much. But there are times then you'll turn around and somebody's like, "Yeah, I went through that with my parents," and so yeah, it sucks. Also, and I'm sure, and let me know out there in the chat. We got Roy. in the house. Angry Quad, what's up, buddy? Wheelchair Rick, hey, welcome in. And hopefully Donald's still back with us, which we had on the show Thursday. He was really awesome.
Ben is
Uh,
bumping you, Ben. Love you, Benny boy.
and
And also, sorry, Bobby,
go ahead.
but just one quick Wheelchair Rick. Everybody, if you haven't gone, check out Wheelchair Rick. Go check out his YouTube channel. See if you can click on his name and go to his channel. He posts really, really cool, awesome content very regularly.
Absolutely.
And we like to shout out our friends that do that. So sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
No, but sort of lost my train of thought. But I think, you know, nothing ever prepares you. What was I saying? Um, and I turn around, and I find more and more people go through this. But what really scares me, that's what I was going to say, is, my brother is awesome and he's been helping out. And it's like your sister is, is probably amazing and helps you out in so many ways. But he also lives in Santa Cruz. So right now, me being here, it's kind of a lot, and it helps to soundboard off him. And what's amazing about my brother, he's coming as much as he can, as his free time can. So that helps out. But it's always helped that you have a brother. But the thing that bugs me the most is with the disability. Like I go to my dad's place and I want to clean up and I want to straighten things and help him look for things, and I'm at the will of the mercy of, okay, Dad, can you get down there? And he's not sure what he's really looking for because he forgot in 2 seconds. Like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. And I'm like, the remote control. Well, what does it look like, Dad? Yeah. And I can't get mad. You can't go, Dad, you know what a remote control looks like, but, there's been many times that, I go, Dad, hand me the remote, and he hands me a phone, and I'm like, no, that's Mom's phone. No, need the remote, because, and the sad thing is, every time I go over there, the TV is, it's on a different HDMI, so it's blank, and he's just sitting there staring at a screen when I get there, and it's just like, and at least I can fix those things, but the other things I wish I could do more, and as your parents age and having a disability, sometimes it becomes hard to realize that, I can't do everything for them.
Totally, totally. I my shout out my mom and dad. They supported me for so long. They still support me in so many ways, so many I can't even name them all. Um, I am very independent in my own space. Like in my little box right here, baby, like if the apocalypse happened, I could survive. Like for real. I'm I've honed it, I learned it, I've set everything up where like I just operate so well in here. When I am outside of my space, that's where things are harder. I almost feel more disabled like outside of my little bubble because the world isn't set up for me like my space is. And while I love to venture outside my bubble, that can be a scary thing. It can be a hard thing. Um, and going, even going home, like the house that my parents live in isn't the house that I grew up in. And while it is mostly accessible and there's a ramp that lets me get in and out, and mom and dad are awesome, they put handles on all the doors so that I can do all the doors. And my room has a sliding door so I can get in and out of that myself, close it myself. Stuff that isn't super accessible is a refrigerator. I can't open the fridge and get to anything because it's in between an island and I can't even open the thing, let alone like, get into it. Cooking and doing things like that, preparing stuff. The list goes on. And while I love going home because my family home is like the most cozy, wonderful best place in the world. It can be hard sometimes because I feel a little bit more dependent in that space. And like, I mean, I'm with my fam, so they've been helping me out my whole life, and it's really never much of an issue to ask, or like, I don't really feel burdened to generally, but sometimes I do, especially like when my mama's like super tired and got a lot going on or something. It's like I need something, it's like, oh, like I just want to ask for it, but I also don't want to, or I'll just like feel guilty or feel like I'm a little extra of a burden, which I know I'm not, and I know it's no big thing. But again, these are just some of the stuff that goes through my head. Like carrying this disability thing with me all the time is, it does hit you and affect you, and make you feel funny sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that like I had to get out of my head is like, bro, you're not a burden. If anything, you're an opposite. Like you're helping carry the weight, you're helping in whatever capacity you can, and helping in ways that other people can't. And that's all dope. So recognize that for what it is.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help where you need it, because those people are going to ask you for help where they need it too. And you're just going to help balance the scales.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it can be easy to feel more burdensome and less like that in our
More
situation
chain,
sometimes.
ball and chain kind of at times. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how I kind of describe it. It's like you're doing it, but it feels like you're doing it with this extra weight, and you're just and it's and I'm sure a lot of us, a lot, many day throughout the day can feel like that. It's and like you said, it is nice to be in your own bubble. When I'm here, yeah, I am at ease. I have no worries about accessibility, and there's not everything perfect here too, and but that doesn't bother me. But if I'm somewhere else, that bothers me. It's like,
yeah.
oh, there's a little bump here. At the house, it doesn't bother me because I know that bump's there. I know what it does for me. I know that I have to be like this, but when it throws you off somewhere else, that's where you feel like you have that extra ball and chain.
But it is what it is. I don't know. It's been a long time for me. It's been a long time for you, Bobby. I don't know if those feelings ever go away entirely,
You know,
but they certainly get less burdensome, I think, as time goes on.
but it's your
You
attitude.
know,
You handle it.
yeah,
You
absolutely,
you don't let
absolutely.
it drag you. That's the thing. You learn to pick it up and run with it, and carry on with your day with it. And at the end of the
And
day,
also,
let that chain go and say, okay, I'm free, and I got through my day with this.
communicate. Set yourself up for success. Like what can I bring to make this space a little bit more accessible for me? One of those is a grabber. That way, if I drop something and nobody's around, I'm not gonna call anybody from another room or from what they're doing. Like I can just use my grabber to pick it up. Like that's one thing. Like I can communicate what can be done in my room, or what can be set out for me, or what can be put in a certain location that would be accessible, so that when I get hungry or when I get thirsty, it's just a matter of going and grabbing it from whatever I had set up before. And that's cool. Also, like, it's a little vacation for me too. I'm getting to go home. I take on a lot in terms of like what I what I do every day, independence wise. Like I hope it's not too burdensome to the people at home, but sometimes when I'm home, I am like, oh, this is a nice little vacation. It's like I got people around, I can take it a little easier. Like if I drop something, it's not super frustrating or anything like that. It's like, so I embrace that, and I appreciate and love my family for the opportunity that they provide in that way too.
Yeah.
Um,
And Ben said it here, embrace the suck. And that's one of
yeah,
my favorite sayings of all time. Just you're gonna have to embrace it. It's not always easy, and it's you know, you can take that in many different approaches of embracing. You don't have to like it, and you don't have to accept it. You have to move forward and embrace it, and there is another day.
easier said than done
And some days,
sometimes.
yeah, true.
Uh, and I'm with you. I'm with you. I I don't know if I necessarily. I mean, I embrace the suck. I embrace the suck. I really try to see the positive side of whatever the situation I am whatever it is, and I try to, and man, it's a little hippity dippity on my part, and it sucks and it's hard a lot of the time because I can't really always see the happy thing, but um, there generally is, no matter what situation you're in, you can find a positive if you look hard enough and deep enough. And that's what I try to do. I always try to spin everything in a positive way. Like something happens and I can't go out. Well, at least I get to stay cozy at home and play some video games and order some yummy food that I like, and don't have to worry about get myself ready the hour or two work that's gonna be and rolling, wherever it is and stuff. That's what I mean. It's like um, some situations they're shitty and you just gotta embrace them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of suck at that. I've been getting better. But I'm embracing that stuff too.
Day by day. Day by day.
Overwhelmed. That was a singular comment by Chris.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Um, I that's I don't know what to do when you feel that way. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Do you feel overwhelmed ever, Bobby? If
All
so,
the,
what do you do?
oh yeah, all the time. Especially when there's a lot of things on the calendar. You know, um, especially when you're sitting there trying to balance life. And there's this also extra balance with your body and how much you can do. I mean, and Roy, you need to chime in on this for how long you've been hurt as well, and anybody else that's you know everything was nice and easy the first 25 years, and then after that it just seems like I get overwhelmed because I'm trying to figure out and keep schedule the same, and then figure out how to balance of taking care of my body by meaning not doing so much. So what did I tell you? I said, oh, when I get overwhelmed, I go exercise, but that's not really taking care of my body as well. So it's just like, damn it, there's somewhere I gotta manage my body, and all of a sudden, arms are sore than they should be because I've over exercised, because I'm overwhelmed, and now I'm getting overwhelmed because now I'm blah,
Yeah,
you can see how it can just snowball, and I, three little ways. I just say today, cut it out. I'm gonna take it easy, catch up on some TV, see what's and lay down. And thank God I'm blessed that my wife's also retired now, and she's like, hey, you need anything? Let's set you up. If I go somewhere, she makes sure I'm set, and then if I have to get in my chair, I get in my chair, or I stay.
yeah. Um, I don't handle overwhelm super well. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Kind of depends on what's overwhelming me or the number of forces overwhelming me. I've felt that a lot lately. It's been like part of why I've been struggling. It's because I like feel that all the time. Like feel like there are a lot of forces in my life that were overwhelming me, and I was just carrying a lot. Feel like I was just so weighed down. I was like, how can I lift my head, let alone, lift my body and get up in my chair. Because that's what I was feeling like. I was just felt so overwhelmed. I think um, part part of what I do, and again, I don't know if this is right, people. I get a little angry. I get a little pissed off. That'll help motivate me. I'll kind of get angry at my situation or just like get a little pissed off, and that'll help motivate me to kind of handle my stuff. Like usually I'm fine, I'm operating, and then like there'll be that straw that will fall that'll break my back. It's just that little bit too much. Like I'll be stressing, I'll be dealing with a bunch of heavy stuff in my head and with my day, and then I'll have an accident, and then it'll just fucking break me. And I'll feel very, very overwhelmed in that moment. It can be really hard, and sometimes I'll just get a little pissed off and be like, "Just gotta fucking do it, Tom. Let's go, dude." And I'll make it work, and I'll just work my way through. Marijuana is great. At least it has been for me. Just take a hit, chill out, bro. Sort my thoughts for a minute. It really does help me sometimes. just because I'll overwhelm myself in my head. Learning to worry about things that I can control and that I have influence over, and then unburdening myself of those that I don't,
Hmm.
not carrying them so heavy and so closely. And again, like easier said than done. Um, it like taking away those taking those things off of yourself, especially when those are the forces that are affecting you or making you feel the most, can be hard. It can be impossible. But if you are able to realize that you have no necessarily like no control over this particular thing that's weighing you down right now, then shuck it off your shoulders. Forget about it until you are in a position to handle it or influence it or change it in some way. You know, 'cause otherwise, like you're just wasting your time and your energy. Talking to people. It can feel really hard to talk to people when I'm feeling that way, but just talking through it sometimes will help the overwhelming feeling go away. And boom, gaming, gaming with my buddy Ben. He
Yeah.
said gaming with Mom, gaming with Ben, gaming with the Live to Roll crew. More so just a positive, healthy distraction. Like just I'm feeling too much right now. I need to distract myself, like I just gotta distract myself because running circles in my head and not having any ability to change my circumstances in this moment, I'm if I just sit there and stew, like it's just gonna get worse and it's gonna be harder. So I distract myself and in a healthy way, not in a way that's hurting me or that's gonna add to the overwhelming feelings or anything. Just give myself a little break. And the way that I do that a lot is hop on and do some gaming. Hop into a virtual universe for a little while and forget about this one that I'm living in and hang out with some cool buds along the way. Um, Pain is super tough. Pain is something that I've learned that can also be that straw that kind of breaks me a little bit. It's like if I'm having a hard time and but I'm still operating, and then like I'm hurting on top of that, it can be really hard to find the strength to continue to operate and do what I got to do. Um, I've been very proactive in taking steps to help mitigate that or reduce the pain or like have things like going to therapy and stuff. And those aren't necessarily hard to do because I feel like I'm doing something about one of the things that's overwhelming me. But I've been thinking a lot about pain, trying to understand it. I don't do any medication or anything like that yet. Not against it, other than marijuana, which I guess counts. Um, but I think it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily even realize. Like that can be a big one on top of everything that can make everything a lot harder. Um, and yeah, taking everything one thing at a time. I think that's the other best thing about best action against being overwhelmed is you can't fix everything at once, but you can fix one thing maybe. Like hey, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed and I'm really hungry and I'm really tired. Well, I can eat a healthy meal and get a little bit of rest, and that'll help. Take a few things off the list, and then I can move on to the next thing.
Well, it's kind of
Um,
like our body's a car in the sense that we get a flat tire. What do? We can fix a flat tire, right? Within that same day. You know, but tranny goes or something else goes. You might need to keep it in the shop for a few days. But also when you get so broken down, like where you need to restore a lot of things, like a restore car, it takes several times to go piece by piece and by piece. And if you think of it that way, just taking what those pieces are and putting them together, it's going to turn out to be a classic. Sometimes I like to think that's what I've done over my time. Just take those pieces and put them together, and well-built oil machine here.
yeah, Bobby. I mean, you're right. I've been feeling like a little rusty bucket lately, and been polishing myself up and realizing how shiny and sexy I actually am. And that's a part of it. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes repeated effort. And in the midst of all those repeated efforts, are going to be some failures, and maybe a lot of them. And that's cool. It doesn't feel super cool in the moment, but it is if you can give yourself some perspective and some grace. It is cool because you're gonna try again and you're gonna succeed, and those succeeding in those ways will add up to more success and you know less failures, and those days never go away either.
Yeah.
I have those hard days a lot more than I like to admit, but I'm not letting them. I'm not letting them take me out anymore. I'm
What
still
do you
taking the necessary steps to do what I got to do. Some days I do really great, and I do everything I got to do, and maybe even a little bit more, and I feel good at the end of it. Some days I don't, and I fail, and I hide in my room all day and don't do anything that I need to do, and I'm just sad and a little or a lot and that's cool too, because I don't stay stuck in it. I do reach out to my people. I do schedule that hang that I need at the end of the week, or I call up one of my buds and be like, "Hey, I need to meet you outside of my apartment somewhere. I don't care where," and like that's cool too. Surround yourself with positive energy and positive thoughts and vibes. Totally, man. Totally. If you are able to, I mean, that really is it. And again, just some like concrete examples. Olivia said earlier, music's huge for me. Um, putting on my favorite music, putting on my favorite movie or my favorite show that even when I'm feeling shitty and sad, like I know The Office is gonna make me crack a smile and make me like feel that little inside warm feeling, and so I'm gonna put it on and
Yeah.
I'm gonna feed myself. Like feeling tired is something too that I did not realize until my papa and some other people taught me, like how like a good rest could reset you, how important it is. I my dad taught me this acronym: HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. If you're feeling any of those four things, you need to halt what you're doing and try to remedy them or fix them. Whether that be get a nice meal, get some rest, just give yourself some rest. Even if you got good rest, if you're still feeling tired, it's okay to, give yourself a little extra recharge if that's what you need. If you're feeling super lonely, uh, I don't know, like I'm felt so lonely sometimes lately. So lonely, it's like even hard to reach out to people because you're just like, I, again, that it feels a little oxymoronic because that's like the remedy to not feeling lonely. But anybody that knows that feeling can understand what I just said. Um, but even if it's hard,
But that
I do that.
I've
I
never
do
heard
that.
alt before, Tom. Um, that those were some powerful, or that's a powerful word if you take each of those and break it down. So I was like, wow, I'm gonna remember that for a long time.
Yeah, my dad told me years ago. I think even like before I moved out, or maybe around when I moved out, and it stuck with me in the last 10 years and helped me out a lot because I'll get myself in that situation where I'll be like really tired and not feeling my body right, and I'll be having some wild thoughts and just feeling like really scared and overwhelmed and angry and down and and then I'll eat some food and I'll get a little rest and I'll feel like a new man. I'll be like, oh my god, like the happy feelings are a lot easier. Um,
Yeah, like Donald
and
hungry. Donald said it in there. Hungry. He's grilling and cooking. You know.
yeah, um, and yeah, that's what those are some good tricks. There's some good things. Those are some things that I do.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for tips and tricks too. So if anybody has any other advice out there for when you're feeling overwhelmed or down or anything like that, I'm really grateful and happy that we got the floor to kind of do a little mental health episode lately, or today. Like we haven't talked about that lately on the show, and it's something that I've been going through a lot. So it's nice to kind of have a space to talk about it.
You're gonna owe me 125 at the end of the hour. You know
I got you,
that.
Bobby. And, you know what they say: ass, gas, or grass, baby. Nobody rides for free.
Dude.
Uh, I got one of those three things, Bobby. I'm not gonna say what it is after the show though.
Oh,
Uh,
I only need one.
uh, but we'll keep it PG here. Um, and yeah, is there anything else? The other part of the show today was going to be like any topics or anything you guys wanted
Yeah.
to talk about. We kind of dove into the mental health stuff just because it's something I wanted to talk about mostly. And Bobby was like, "Yeah, we'll just dive on in." We do still have a little bit of time if there's any particular topics that you want us to touch on. We can certainly touch on them and talk about it. We can remind you guys some other shows that we got going on this week. You can catch me tomorrow. We're doing some adaptive gaming. We were talking about it a little while ago. We got a great group of
Shall
people.
we play a game?
Thank you, Bobby. That was great.
Yeah, I got.
Um, we'll mostly do gaming. Well, we do gaming no matter what, but there's also a lot of hanging and just general good conversation and stuff. So,
Well,
oh, whoa, Bobbyception
I,
right there. I like that.
but
That
I'm
was
like,
good.
whoa, 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 okay, we're back in control.
But if you are looking for another show, another time to come and hang out with us, even if you're not into gaming, just come and hang out and talk and chat. On Thursday, we got the ladies coming back. Miss Brianna Wheeler. She's awesome, amazing human being. Um, you don't want to miss the show. She's hanging out with a bunch of awesome ladies, Nikki and Ashley, and Jessica and Maya, all incredibly strong, amazing women. If you are a woman yourself, really, really encourage you to go check it out. It's not exclusive just to ladies, though. So if anybody wants to watch and learn something, it's knowledge that be relatable and helpful to, I think, anybody with a positive, open mind. So go give them some love. And
Then we have Monday. We have Sarab and Hell Wheels and a little bit of chat with gaming and technology. And then we have us again, the old geezers coming on, rolling over the hill. We're gonna have an amazing guest. Hopefully, we got the one we were supposed to have on, but thank God we had Donald stepping in, Donald Brown. So check him out. He was with us last week.
still waiting for my invite on to Rolling Over the Hill.
Yeah,
Gosh darn it.
yeah. Just get ready. You're getting older. Let's see a little more gray hair. No, I'm kidding. So, um, yeah. So we got some good shows happening. Daryl just chimed in. Welcome in to the chat, Daryl. I went for a new wheelchair evaluation last Thursday. She had the one that would tilt, recline, elevate, and stand. So, tell us a little bit more. Like, what chair is it? Is that the one you're going with? Sounds like all the bells and whistles there. So,
I know somebody that just got a standing chair, and they don't like it.
the standing part.
Uh, yeah, mostly because they don't have much interest in standing. But I think it's really cool. I think it's
But
amazing,
did
powerful
it tilt
thing.
and recline as well?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it has all the bells and whistles. So that was my logic. It was like, well, just don't use the standing thing. The thing that this particular person didn't like about it is the armrests, and it had like these leg things that like held their legs in place, and it does look kind of bulky. It does look kind of look like a lot. But if you use the standing function, that's what's necessary to like stabilize you to keep you from falling out of your
Oh,
chair.
yeah.
So that's what like my advice as well. Maybe have them take it off if you don't plan on using the standing feature, or have them disable it if that's like the worry and why they have to have it on there, for your own safety or whatever. Then just have them disable it. Use the rest of the features. But I don't think there's an elevate. That's the trade-off. Is there's not an elevate. It's only a stand. I don't know if the
I
wait. He said elevate and stand, so maybe it does.
but
Maybe this is a different chair too. I don't know.
I see more of an elevate feature being used than a stand feature being used for folks.
So
I
that's what I used on
argue.
my chair.
Yeah, I've never been in that situation. I mean, one day, I mean, trust me, I'm gonna embrace when that day comes and I'll have to get a recline chair, and knowing that I can recline at any time, heck yeah, man, that would be nice one day. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. So when it does happen,
Bobby, you're a reclined
I,
cheater. You're a
uh,
reclined cheater. No, 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 no. Listen to me. Listen to me for a second. Listen to me. You're a cheater, bro, because your ass is reclined, but your torso is at a 90-degree angle. Okay, you have a bucket. Am I correct?
yeah, I have a bucket, but
Well, you're tilted a little bit. I just like your booty's tilted, bro. You're not fully reclined. I'm just saying you are a
I
little bit
still
to
have to.
allow you to
No, I meant
maintain your.
I don't have to work on my balance because no matter what, throughout the day, I'm working on my balance. And when you're gonna hit a bump and you're like, let me tilt back more where I don't have to worry about my balance. That would be, something that's nice. Or hey, watching TV. When I watch TV in my chair, which is lately I've been not liking it because I'm like, I'd rather get on the couch or in my bed and watch TV because then I'm watching
I
an hour program and after a while I'm like, you know, working on my balance all day.
They're tilted like almost all the time, which is why I called Bobby out because I wear my tilt on my sleeve a little bit more, because I do kind of tilt my chair back like 20, 30 degrees because it does the same thing as like bucketing my butt. It like moves my center of gravity so that I don't have to worry about falling. I don't wear a chest brace or anything. I do a lot of moving and reaching and grabbing, and it would be burdensome to kind of be locked in, all the time, I think. But the I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it in a manual all the time, because I rely on my tilt so much. Like, and let me tell you, Bobby, it's nice. Like, it's relaxed, baby. It's grooving. Especially if you're able to like kick it back a little bit further. If you're like trying to like pressure relief or like reposition and stuff, it can be a big game changer.
Yeah.
Um,
And one thing that,
and
or, one thing I wanted to bring up with the stand motion, and Daryl chimed in. He said, might have to skip the stand feature because, for us, and I don't know about you, Tom, but our bones now over time have gotten pretty weak. So, the first thing you're going to have to do is get a bone density test and find out where your bones are because you would hate to start to use that stand feature and find out like uh, your your bones are just going to break.
I'm getting an adamantium infusion so that I can become like Wolverine and have a metal skeleton that's indestructible. Um, I just have to develop the mutant X gene that allows me to heal rapidly, and we'll be good to go. And I guess maybe if I get that, I won't have to worry about this spinal cord injury thing anymore. Sorry, you guys. I'm just being silly and nerdy over here. I have a Permobile, front wheel drive, Daryl. My base, the Corpus F5, is the frame that, or the base that they put the standing chair on. I don't have that standard though. I just have the elevate and the tilt and recline stuff. The front wheel drive is wide. It's wide. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, doesn't keep me from getting in and out of most places. I do live in LA, which is like a pretty great place when it comes to door widths and like standards surrounding that stuff. And it is kind of just the nature of power chairs. Like you're dealing with a wider base. Something to really consider, if that's a worry for you. Definitely, consider it. Measure the measure the door frames and stuff in your house and places like that. And most doors, it's designed to fit. It's 30-inch base, so it's designed to fit within most doors.
Yeah,
But I'm not.
sometimes I saw this cool story on CBS Sunday Morning that my wife and I watch every Sunday morning, and there was a story on.
Let's say it's on Sunday morning. It's called CBS Sunday Morning. I wouldn't have guessed it.
You wouldn't have guessed it. It's a cool informative show if you ask me. But they were
I
talking
just
about gadgets on and that how our life is actually becoming more complicated because just with the phone. Your basic iPhone now can do, and I think it was 12,000 commands of certain. And do we know how to really use all those functions? But guess what we buy? Do you buy a toothpaste that just brush your teeth? Or would you rather buy a toothbrush that, hey, you can use silverware, open up a corkscrew? We tend to want the one that has more gadgets. So, we have to
yeah.
think about that with our wheelchair. Is more gadgets actually better? Or is it going to make our life complicated? And that was also, one of the biggest features they talked about is, um, and I know you don't drive, Tom, but and I'm worried about getting a new car with now all the new features that you see. When I pull up next to a Tesla, there's a big freaking computer screen that's sitting right in front of them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like there's a whole computer right there, and technology is crazy when it comes out. And so try to simplify your life. It does make it a little bit easier.
I kind of agree with you, Bobby. Simplified design, I think, can be sometimes the best and the most efficient and functional because it can provide reliability, less points at which it could break. It is something that sucks about a power chair is there's 1,000 screws and a bunch of different moving parts and all these different systems that all work together to make this thing. But also, there's 100 different ways that it could break and fail, and it does regularly. Unfortunately, screws fall out all the time, wires get pinched, like little things happen. And don't get me wrong, like it is built in such a way that is I'm really hard on it. I use the crap out of it, and it serves me. It does feel very reliable, but if you're just cruising in a manual chair with some spokes and it's all mechanical and it's all really simple, the likelihood of like having a power malfunction or a short in your wire or something, there is no possibility of that. So
Yeah.
I understand the pros, like of what you just said. My only counter to that is technology is such an incredibly powerful tool. Um, you can change your life and simplify your life in such meaningful, positive ways that can literally change your life. So
Oh, I
I feel you.
I'm
Simplify your life away,
I buy
but also
a toothbrush with.
surround yourself with technology and tools that will enable you to be independent and happy and successful as well, if that's what they provide for you. And like wheelchairs and stuff are so well regulated these days that
Yeah.
they're not going to sell you something that's going to break on you easy, or um, something you have to worry about necessarily in that regard.
You know,
But I hear you, Bob.
yeah. Daryl said something, and I'll caution you this, Daryl, because he said, I've been in a real wheel drive for 29 years. And I've only heard this from my buddy Dean. He's part of our sponsor, Mobility Pros. He sells chairs all days, and he sees guys coming and going. He says, man, those who love that type of drive need to stay with it because when they change over, they just have a very hard time getting used to it. So just caution you, Daryl, if you are thinking about going to that front wheel. It is different. It's nice if it's your first time using a chair, but if you've been using the way you've been using the rear wheel for so long, it might be a big change for you. So just caution you. Be careful.
Um,
Try it out a few times before you agree on going front wheel.
I made the transition. I used to be in a rear-wheel drive chair for a number of years. I missed the wheelies. I missed the donuts that I could spin out in it. Most of all, those were the best parts of my rear-wheel drive chair. I know Tommy still cruises around in one,
Yeah.
and he fights for his chair because he loves the wheel. And his need is a little bit more unique than ours because he uses it as a tool for his
Paint.
vocation, his art and stuff. But it is different. I would make the argument it's harder for outdoors because these backcasters are like anchors that you end up putting all your weight on and dragging behind you. So that can be difficult. At least that's what I ran into. I'd say inside it's better because the turning radius is a little tighter because it's moved forward instead of from the back, you're turning from the front. And it does make the turning radius tighter. So your turns are a little tighter. It's a little easier to navigate like tighter corners and stuff. I can make it through Bobby's hallways into his man cave without chipping too much paint.
Yeah, that's
And that's saying something. It is because I gotta feel like I got a pretty wide booty coming through, and the fact that I can make those super tight turns is because the turning radius is different as a result of the front wheel drive. So consider the environments you're going to be in mostly, like I do take this thing outdoors all the time and adventure and all kinds of different types of ground and terrain. Um, and it struggles, but I'm still able to make it work, and I get the benefit of driving a little smoother and easier navigating indoor environments. So there's always a little trade-off, always little pros and cons. Shout out Permobil though, like they rule the game, but it's for a reason, man. Like they make some dope products. Like this is my third or fourth Permobil, and they're awesome. I love it, love it, love it.
that's good. That's good. Um, that's something else on my head. We were talking about it, but that's what happens. Blinked it out. I don't know. You want to
Well,
talk about our sponsors? We didn't talked about our sponsors.
yeah,
We did a little.
think about it. Think about it for a second. The negative side effects of medical marijuana, Bobby. That's what we like to say. Yeah, freaking buy
I
it. I'm
wish there
just
was
kidding.
that problem. Wish there was that
Uh,
problem.
mobility professionals and urology professionals for the last several years. We've had the great fortune of being supported and sponsored by these two awesome sister corporations. Mobility professionals is unfortunately unique to the Southern California area, and you have to be here to take advantage of it. But if you are lucky enough to be in the area and are able to do so, I highly encourage you to. They are a wheelchair equipment company, DME company, that not only provides services for wheelchairs, helping you get chairs, helping you get the right chair, but they can also help you out with other similar medical equipment like standing frames, shower chairs, and the like. And their sister company, Urology Professionals, is national. So anywhere in the US of A, you can help yourself out by giving them a call if you deal with catheterizing or need any kind of tools to help you go pee. Urology Professionals has got you. Anything and everything urological supply related, they can help get it to your door on time, regular, in the quantity that you require and or desire with little to no cost to you, thanks to their awesome team who can help work with you and your doctor and your insurance to figure it all out and get you what you need. So yeah, go give them some love if you feel so inclined. If you think they might be able to help you, I don't think you'll regret it.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to say, it wasn't this, but um, one thing with SEI, and when we talk about being overwhelmed and sometimes, but it sucks when we have what Shawn had today, where a simple thing he's done hundreds and hundreds of times, and it just this one didn't go the quite right, and he had to go get it checked out, and it causes a lot of problems to our bodies. But that's where we learn to adjust. That's where we learn to rely on one another, and you guys in the chat and gals, I should say as well. You know, hey, we pivot, and that's what we've done since day one when our life had changed. And, you know, if you call it for the better or for the worse, but we call it as we're just going to have to pivot and make the best of it and, you know, embrace that suck, as Ben said earlier.
And when you are dealing with things like this, and they do take you out, and they mess up your whole day, and really, they can really bring you down. Really have a hard time, make you have a hard time. One thing that I do is I just remember how lucky I actually am. You know, Sean's. We're lucky to have Sean in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
To part of Live to Roll and stuff. Sean's lucky to have his wonderful family and to have Leah and the people around him that are there to support him. And Bobby similar with Ellen and us and your family and your brother and even your mom and dad. They we're all just very blessed in so many ways. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're going through some really tough stuff, something I like to remind myself of is just simple things like that. Helps gives me perspective, helps make me feel better, helps make me feel happy, and nice little reminder in those hard moments. So thank you all for being here, and
Yeah.
y'all are something I think of, and remember how lucky and grateful I am to have all you guys, and have Live to Roll and have this thing in my life that's such a positive, wonderful force. Love you guys.
Got We got Daryl in the house. We got Benny in the house. We got Donald in the house. Grandma's in the house. We got Mama in the house. Olive, thank you so much. Everybody in the chat. We got 22 people watching, 15 likes. Smash that like button. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Chris, hopefully you're still with us. You joined us. You used a big word today, and I think hopefully you got a little piece of our perspective about being overwhelmed and, you know, just take day by day and pivot and rely on those that love you, and things will get better. You know, things will get better. Yeah.
Things will, even when they feel like they won't.
Yep.
Um, they'll certainly change one way or the other. It's something you can always count on.
Yep. Alfonso, we got you.
Alfonso, shout out Alfonso,
Thanks for
showing up.
joining us. Glad you can join us. Um, is he new, Alfonso, with us? Or have you
I
seen?
don't know. Don't recognize the name. If you are not new, apologize. But if you are, appreciate you. Um,
Glad you're joining us.
if I did forget your name, but we're really happy you're here and shouting you out, giving you lots of love.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And as we always say before we sign off, live to roll.
Live to roll.